Something just changed in April 2026, and your bank account may already be showing it. Right now, thousands of seniors across the United States are waking up to unexpected deposits in their accounts, and most of them have no idea why the money arrived or whether they're entitled to even more. The Social Security Administration has officially rolled out a back pay adjustment wave affecting both retirement beneficiaries and SSDI recipients, and the numbers are not small. We're talking anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s depending on your filing history, your work record, and whether your benefits were miscalculated in previous years. This is not a rumor. This is not clickbait. SSA has been quietly correcting long-standing payment errors tied to COLA adjustments, earnings record mismatches, and delayed processing backlogs that built up over the past 2 years. If you've been receiving Social Security or SSDI and haven't checked your My Social Security account this week, stop everything you're doing right now, because you could be leaving real money on the table that legally belongs to you. So let's get into exactly what is happening, why it's happening right now in April 2026, and most importantly, what you need to do to make sure you're getting every single dollar that belongs to you. Because here's the truth. The Social Security Administration does not send you a letter that says, "Hey, we owe you money, come get it." That is not how this works. The system is complicated, it is layered, and unfortunately, it has been making errors for years. The difference between the people who get their back pay and the people who don't is simply awareness. And that's exactly why you're watching this video today. Let's start with the foundation of what's actually triggering this back pay wave in April 2026. Over the past 2 years, the Social Security Administration has been dealing with a massive internal backlog. This backlog was created by a combination of COVID-era processing delays, staff shortages at SSA field offices, and a surge in new benefit applications from the baby boomer generation entering retirement age. What happened as a result is that thousands of cases were either processed late, processed incorrectly, or simply pushed to the back of the line without proper notification to the people who were affected. Those cases are now being reviewed, corrected, and in many situations, back payments are being issued to make up for what was delayed or miscalculated. This is real, this is documented, and this is happening right now. Now, here's where it gets really important for you personally. There are several specific categories of beneficiaries who are most likely to be receiving or eligible for these extra deposits. The first group is people who had earnings record corrections. Your Social Security benefit is calculated based on your lifetime earnings record. If your employer ever reported your wages incorrectly, or if SSA entered your data with an error, your benefit amount was likely lower than it should have been. When these errors get caught and corrected, which is what's happening right now as part of this review process, SSA is required to recalculate your benefit and pay you back the difference going all the way to when the error first occurred. For some people, that correction goes back 2, 3, even 5 years. You do the math on what that adds up to. The second major group being affected is SSDI recipients, people receiving Social Security disability insurance. The SSDI backlog in particular has been absolutely brutal over the past few years. People were waiting 18 months, 2 years, sometimes longer, just to get an initial decision on their disability claim. When claims are finally approved after those long waits, SSA is legally required to pay back pay going all the way to the established onset date of the disability, which is the date SSA determines your disability began. For someone who waited 2 years for approval, that back pay check can be enormous. And right now, in April 2026, a significant number of those long pending SSDI cases are finally being resolved, which means those large back pay payments are finally hitting bank accounts. If you or someone you love has been waiting on an SSDI decision or recently got approved, this directly applies to you. The third group that needs to be paying close attention is people who were affected by the Social Security Fairness Act changes. Now, if you've been following Social Security news at all over the past year, you know this is huge. The windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, 2 rules that had been reducing Social Security benefits for millions of public sector workers like teachers, firefighters, police officers, and government employees, were repealed. That repeal means that everyone who is having their benefits wrongfully reduced under those provisions is now entitled to have their benefits recalculated at the higher correct amount, and they are entitled to back pay for the months their benefits were being reduced under those old rules. SSA has been working through these recalculations, and the payments are being issued in waves throughout 2026. If you worked in the public sector and were subject to WEP or GPO reductions, you need to be checking your account and your mail because your payment could be significant. Now, a lot of people watching this are going to wonder, how do I know if I'm actually getting something or if this applies to me? That's the right question to ask, and here's the honest answer. The best place to start is your My Social Security online account at ssa.gov. Log in and go to your benefit verification letter and your payment history. If SSA has issued a corrected calculation on your account, you will often see a change in your benefit amount before the actual check arrives. You might also see a one-time payment listed that's larger than your regular monthly deposit. That is your back pay. Many people have been seeing these larger deposits show up in their accounts in March and April 2026 and calling their banks thinking it's a mistake. It is not a mistake, but you do need to verify that it matches what SSA's records say, because errors can happen in both directions. If you don't have an online account set up yet, this is genuinely the week to do it. Go to ssa.gov, click on My Social Security, and create your account. You'll need your social security number, a valid email address, and a way to verify your identity, usually through your phone or a government ID. Once you're in, everything about your benefit history, your earnings record, your payment schedule, and any pending actions on your account is right there. It puts you in control of your own information instead of waiting for a letter that may or may not arrive on time. Speaking of letters, SSA is required to send you a notice anytime your benefit amount changes. If you've had a back pay adjustment made to your account, you should receive what's called a notice of award or a benefit adjustment letter. These letters come by mail to the address SSA has on file for you. This is critical. If you've moved in the last couple of years and didn't update your address with SSA, you may be missing these notices entirely. Your payment might still go to your direct deposit account, but if you don't know why it arrived or what it means, you could be missing additional steps you need to take. Update your address today if there's any chance SSA doesn't have your current one. You can do that through your online account or by calling 1-800-772-1213. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough, and that is the people who are eligible for back pay but haven't received it yet, and may not receive it automatically. Here's the hard truth about how SSA operates. Not every correction happens on its own. Some errors in your earnings record will sit there indefinitely unless you flag them yourself. If you've never sat down and actually reviewed your complete Social Security earnings history line by line, year by year, you may have gaps or errors in there that are silently reducing your benefit every single month. SSA gives you the ability to see your complete earnings record going back to your very first job. Pull it up. Compare it against your own records. Old W-2s, tax returns, pay stubs if you still have them. If you see a year where your reported earnings are lower than what you actually made, you have the right to request a correction. And if that correction results in a higher benefit amount, you may be entitled to back pay for the period where you were underpaid. This process of requesting an earnings record correction is something thousands of people have never done simply because they didn't know it was possible. You fill out Form SSA 7008, which is the request for correction of earnings record, and you submit it with whatever documentation you have to support your claim. SSA will review it, verify the information with IRS records, and if the correction is confirmed, they will adjust your benefit and issue back pay accordingly. This is a completely legitimate process that the system was designed for. Don't let anyone tell you that you're causing trouble or being difficult by requesting this. You paid into the system your entire working life. You are entitled to every dollar you earned. Now let's address the SSDI side of this more specifically because SSDI back pay works a little differently than retirement back pay, and the amounts involved can be really significant. When someone is approved for SSDI after a long wait, SSA calculates their back pay starting from 5 months after the established onset date of their disability. That 5-month waiting period is built into the law, but everything after those 5 months, all the way up to the date of approval, is owed to the beneficiary as a lump sum back pay payment. For someone who waited 20 months for approval, that could be 15 months of full SSDI benefit payments in a single deposit. The average SSDI benefit in 2026 is around $1,780 per month. 15 months of that is nearly $24,000. That's the kind of money we're talking about for people who went through the long wait and are now finally getting their decisions. And here's something even more important for SSDI recipients to understand. If your back pay amount exceeds 3 times your monthly benefit, SSA is actually required to pay it in installments rather than all at once. They do this to protect beneficiaries from losing access to needs-based programs like Medicaid or SSI due to a sudden large lump sum payment. SSA pays the first installment immediately, then the second installment 6 months later, and the third installment 6 months after that. So if you received a large SSDI back pay deposit recently, check whether it matches the full amount you're owed or just the first installment. If it's the first installment, there is more money coming. And you should be making sure SSA has your correct direct deposit information so those future payments land where they're supposed to. Let's also talk about something that a lot of seniors don't realize, and that is the connection between Medicare and Social Security back pay. If you were entitled to Medicare coverage during the period that your SSDI claim was pending and you paid out of pocket for medical expenses that Medicare would have covered, you may be entitled to reimbursement as part of your back pay settlement. This is not automatic. You need to work through this with SSA and potentially with your healthcare providers to establish what was paid during that period, but it is absolutely worth looking into because for people with significant medical needs during their waiting period, the reimbursement amounts can be substantial. One more thing that needs to be said clearly before we wrap up this part of the conversation. There are people out there, scammers, who are going to use this exact moment with all this real activity happening around Social Security back pay to try to take advantage of seniors. They will call you on the phone, they will send you emails, they will even knock on your door in some cases, claiming to be from SSA and telling you that you need to verify your information or pay a fee to receive your back pay. Let this be absolutely clear. The Social Security Administration will never call you and ask for your Social Security number over the phone. They will never ask you to pay a fee to receive your benefits. They will never demand immediate payment or threaten you with arrest if you don't act right now. Those are scams. Every single one of them. If you get a call like that, hang up. If you get an email like that, delete it. Go directly to ssa.gov or call the official SSA number at 1-800-772-1213 to verify anything related to your benefits. The real SSA communicates primarily through official mail and through your online account. That's it. If someone is contacting you through any other channel claiming to represent SSA with urgent news about your back pay, treat it as a scam until proven otherwise. Protecting your personal information is just as important as claiming the money you're owed, because if a scammer gets your Social Security number and banking information, they can redirect your benefits entirely, and recovering from that is an incredibly difficult and painful process. What's happening with Social Security in April 2026 is genuinely good news for a lot of people. The back pay wave is real, the corrections are real, and the extra deposits that people are seeing are legitimate. But the system still requires you to be engaged, to check your account, to verify your information, to understand what you're receiving and why. Nobody is going to do that work for you. The seniors who are going to benefit most from what's happening right now are the ones who take action today, who log in, review their records, check their payment history, update their contact information, and make sure SSA has everything they need to get the right money to the right person at the right time. That person should be you.